Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, T-Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye, no T-talk, no P. Diddy talk. In fact, there's nothing here that you're going to hear on any other program that is talking about the headlines. Why? Because it's not that I don't want to know. It's that I know that almost all of what's on the headlines is there, put on by producers who want you to say, what's wrong with people? And be in fear and anxiety because what leads bleeds, or what bleeds leads. And so 674 consecutive weeks ago, I decided that I wanted to do a show about hope and happiness. And I can't do two things at one time, so I'm going to just finish this little story to get people here to remember that, I am here for you every weekday morning now for the past almost 13 years. And I'm here because let's see. That's a good question. You'll hear that in the commercial. How's that? You'll find out my whole abbreviated story as Fox DC put together as Women's History Month, as it is the last day of Women's History Month. And I thought I would go out with not with a bang, but with a reminder to myself why I do this and why it's so important to help people claim their birthright to a happy life. Happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and topics. It's Monday. Topics and guests and special series. Those of you who know anyone who speaks American Sign Language, I have a whole playlist of great interviews that I brought in a staff interpreter to help with that. And so if you know anybody, please do share that playlist. And of course, please subscribe. Give me the finger, not that finger. And that way we'll be connected and you can pop in anytime. And I know eyeballs are coming in, and I met a lot of great people this weekend. We'll go straight to breakfast with Dr. Marissa, a good life habit, hashtag Blisscipline that I've been doing for the past couple of years to start every show, whether it's with a guest or a co-host, to remind us to start with gratitude during the day. Every weekday morning, every morning of my life, I start with gratitude. And then before I go to bed, I start with appreciation, so that I'm not thinking about who done me wrong or how not good I am. So that's the drill. That's the hashtag Blisscipline that we follow. So we're going to start with top of the bun, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. What am I grateful for? So I'm grateful that I reconnected with people yesterday. I just love going to cover events or getting invited to events. I'm grateful to RLC Talent Agency, Leela and Juan, who invited me to go to this great fashion show. and it was at Santa Anita Racetrack. And I'm so grateful that the staff actually recognized me from being there last year. For Chinese New Year, I was one of the speakers for a great event then. And I'm super grateful that guess who won the exacta? Not only did I win an exacta on one of the races, I think it was an early race, like 2 or 3. And then I also won on race 8. Good morning, Gerald Wade. Good to see you here. I'm doing my gratitudes, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, and I'm super grateful this morning because not only did I win an exacta at a work event at Santa Anita Park, I won on race 8. I bet $8 on horse number 8, and I won that. Came in first to win. So I can't remember how much that was, but the big win, or the almost huge win on the last race, I've never bet it before. They have this special, like if you pick the top 5 or you have to pick the top, some of them are 4, some of them are 6, but the top 5 in race 10 of horses to win. And you can bet $1, you can bet more. The chances of you getting all 5 numbers in a row correctly are pretty difficult. Not that I don't like difficult, but I thought I would up my odds, and I don't think I've ever bet this much on one bet. But to box, which means any order of the 5, and aside too, this is kind of funny, Gerald. People were in line betting, and they were like, do you know what you're doing? So I gave like 4 or 5 tutorials, and one girl actually won, and she came and gave me a $5 tip for teaching her how to bet, boxing, exactas, trifectas. So anyways, I tried that new pool thing, and I boxed it. So it was 120, I believe. I've never spent that much. And I thought, you know what? I'm here to have fun. I had put aside some money. I had actually saved some money when I was down at my last event. So I put it down. I put $120, and I missed it by 1 horse. That would have been $20,000. I bet 1, 5, 6, 7, 10, and horse 9 instead of 7. Anyways, whatever it was, I missed it by 1. So that was missing 20,000. But I did win the trifecta. I've never won a trifecta. And I won that, and it was $297. So that was like super fun. So I think I made total like $400. $500, and I put in $150. So that's not bad. That's not bad. $500 for $150. And the most important thing is, even if I had not won anything, I had a blast, because it takes me $1 to have fun betting. I'm sure it's my competitive nature, but I had such a good time. And then, of course, playing on the red carpet, dancing, and then, of course, my second favorite red carpet, because you all know Colt Reed is my number 1 red carpet partner. But very close second is Ricky Rebel, my Straight Talk every other week special series co-host. And we had a blast. So that's a lot of gratitude for just yesterday. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning and the planets did not crash into each other last night. And I am alive, awake, aware, and a full day of things to do, people to see, things to create. I'm preparing for my talks and my trip to Toronto in a couple of weeks. I always mix business with pleasure, because life's too short just to do one thing. And so I get to go see my Chinese mom, who has Parkinson's, and I go visit regularly. And then also I get to speak while I'm there. So that's all fun. And yeah, so there's my top of the button. Any gratitudes? I don't see anybody putting any gratitudes in the comment section yet. You have time. I'm going to go to the bottom of the button, which is my urging you, advocating for you, assisting you in weight training, personal mastery. I've been turning up the volume on that concept. I taught in China, in Shanghai, last June at 2 universities with this topic. I taught a course at UCLA again with this course, Leadership, Effectiveness, and Happiness. So I am all about you being the boss of you and what's going on in your head. And since it is Monday, that is Monday is Mental Health Matters Mondays. And that's when I tackle topics that rob you of your ability to choose happiness or help you claim, positively stated, help you claim what your birthright is to happiness, which is to be happy 88% of the time. So that's what we're doing. And one of the best exercises is to appreciate yourself, to have good, solid mental health, to approve of yourself, and to get rid of your insecurities. And that is the topic of today, by the way. And Gerald is speeding towards the topic. We're going to finish the bottom of the bun first, and then we will get to answering that. I will hit that question head on today. But one of the ways that we can battle the insecurity that's going on is by finding things to appreciate about yourself. So it's gratitude turned inwards. What do I like about myself? And I do this exercise before I go to bed, because if I'm thinking about how horrible I am my own worst critic. No one's harder on me than myself. I will have a tendency to not sleep very well. Very difficult to fall asleep when you are thinking about how bad you are. So I want us to practice. And if you say to me, Dr. Marissa, I don't have anything to be proud of in my life, then I will say that's not true. You're believing something right now that is not true. However, I would love to help you with that. And speaking of which, everyone today gets a free copy of the audiobook of 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. National bestseller now, thank you very much, and #1 Amazon when it came out. And I would love to have you get that free audiobook. Just go to my website, that's right there, drmarissa.life, and put in your email, and I will get you the promo codes, because that's my Monday Asian Oprah giveaway every single Monday. So if you know anybody that likes audiobooks, you can get that. All right. I like about myself that I love to have fun. I insist on having fun, and I love to laugh. That's 2. Laughter is my favorite sound in the world. I love to put on my life jacket with a silver lining. That's what I do every day, because frankly, my dear, it just feels better. It's a waterproof vest, so none of people's ugly splatter gets on me. It is also keeps me warm on cold comment days, and it also keeps me cool when I get hot under the collar and want to give a knee-jerk reaction, which always makes me look like a jerk. So those are the things that I like about me. I hope you have things that you're practicing so that you are not quite so hard on yourself. Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone to approve of you? And if you don't approve of yourself, you will have the tendency to walk around looking for likes. Who likes me, literally, on social media? Who approves of me? And the most important person to approve of you is you. So That's it for Breakfast with Tasha Marissa. Thank you for joining me today. It is Monday, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and all week. This my 647th consecutive week on the air. Thanks for joining me for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. Everything is awesome. I won this at Dave & Buster's. We're talking about insecurity. Is there a song about insecurity? I don't know. I can't do that one. But what is insecurity? Thanks to Gerald. He's going to ask me that first question. What does insecurity mean? Well, insecure. So not secure. You are out of security. And what is insecurity? It is a mental state. Okay, let's go do some definitions. See how close my definition is to the dictionary definition. And as you know, I love to ask my assistant Google to find out what is the definition of insecurity. You can also, hit the wrong button there. Share screen. All right, here's the meaning. Uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, lack of confidence. That is the insecure definition that I am using today. Let's see, the second one is the state of being open to danger or threat, lack of protection. I'm going to focus on the first one, on oneself, since it is Mental Health Monday. Let's see if there's other ones. Insecure feeling of anxiety, fear, self-doubt. Okay, there's another good word to use. So self-doubt, insecurity, lack of confidence, those are all the definition today that we're going to be working with. So I know on a scale of 1 to 10, I wonder if there's a short free quiz on insecurity. Let's see, am I insecure? It doesn't say short. I've learned the hard way on doing some of these quizzes that really did not do well. Okay, here's a quick one. Attachment style? No, I don't want attachment style. I want self-esteem, free report, self-esteem. Oh, okay, let's do this one. Start your test. Ever feel your self-esteem is getting in the way of your true potential? Take your quiz first step towards healthy self-esteem. It says it's 5 minutes. I'm single. I'm gonna hide you from seeing what age, because I'm hashtag ageless. Let's go to this tab. As I fill that out, I know I'm cheating. Okay. From US, and let's see, gender, woman. Do I have children? Yes. Continue. All right. Now I can share this one instead. Okay. Rosenberg, self-esteem. On the whole, I am satisfied to myself. Okay. I am going to copy this so you can do this test along with me. Gerald or anyone else. I see eyeballs here, but I don't see all names, but that's fine. You can take this test with me if you would like. Let's make this bigger. On the whole, I am satisfied with myself. Strongly, gotta go back. Strongly agree. Well, let's do. Can you move that? I feel I have a number of good qualities. Strongly agree. At times I think I am no good at all. Strongly disagree. I wish I could have more respect for myself. Disagree. I'll say disagree. I certainly feel useless at times. Strongly disagree. I feel that I'm a person of worth less, at least on an equal plane with others. Strongly agree. All in all, I'm strongly disagree. I'm not a failure. I should qualify that these answers are a direct result of the way that I choose to live my life for the last 16 years. I would say if I took this test 17 years ago, the answers would be completely opposite. So just say it. Okay. I feel I do not much have proud of, strongly disagree. Lots to be proud of. I take a positive attitude. What do you think, people? Strongly. I'm able to do things as well as most other people. Strongly agree. All right. 10 out of 10 questions. Hopefully this is done. And it's saying my self-esteem score is 90%. Your score suggests high level of self-esteem. Find out more. I'm not going to find out more today, but thank you very much to this mind-only company for affirming that I have 90% self-esteem. I'm glad that I did not score 100% because then I would be dead. It's seriously the same rating as when you are happy. I do not want you to say that you're happy 100% of the time because you're dead. We have to have contrast. I have to have a little lack of self-esteem to know that I have self-esteem. I have to have some unhappiness to know that I am happy. So contrast is a reality and it is a law. Almost, I'm going to make it a law today, that we have to have something to understand that what we have on the other end, because it's all about balance. And you know, my brand is actually, people think my brand is happiness. My original, you cannot be happy until you have balance. Everything has balance in life. So that's my original code word brand. All right. So I answered the question, Gerald. What does insecurity mean? You have doubt, self-doubt, lack of self-confidence. You are not sure of yourself. You are not proud of yourself. That's what insecurity means. And I promise you that insecurity is 100% correlated to happiness. I do not know one person who is chronically insecure who is happy, because any moment of happiness, if someone compliments them, is immediately removed by that voice of, you're not all that. Who do you think you are? They don't really know you, which then creeps in and becomes insecurity. So that's how that process works. All right. Excuse me. I need a moment to be one with my coffee. It's called the deliciousness of life. All right. So I actually did an unofficial study of when does insecurity express or become known in people's lives. So when I first started looking at self, first started looking at who am I, first looking at the concept of happiness and worthiness. It was a self journey that started, I would say, in my 20s. And look, kind of being able to separate myself from myself and look back as an observer. It was actually part of an exercise that it was mandatory to go through for two reasons. One is when you go into psychology, of course, you know, I've heard the rumors that people who are in psychology want to heal themselves and are probably the most messed up people. I gotta put the moose on the table on that one. Those of you who don't know, I was born in Canada, so instead of talking about the elephant in the room, I talk about the moose on the table. So the moose on the table says, yeah, I believe that is actually true, that a lot of people who study psychologists are, consciously or unconsciously trying to help themselves because they know that something messed up when they were young. And then when I looked at insecurity as a student of psychology, um, whether it was for myself or not, I know for sure it was for myself. I also was told, if you can't be a doctor, and I had gone to pre-med at McMaster University I was preparing for pre-med at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And at the time, I also was watching a guy that I dated die of leukemia in the hospital. And that's how I decided I did not want to I didn't want to be a medical doctor. So I knew though I had to be some kind of a doctor because I was born in a very high achieving Chinese family. And so PhD, my Chinese dad was a PhD professor at University of Waterloo engineering, chemical engineering. So I thought, okay, I'll get a PhD in what topic, and if I can't heal the body, I'll heal the mind. And that's how I became a psychology major. So that was one reason I was studying insecurity, self-worth. The other reason was when I came to California, and how did I meet them? I was hired to teach at UCLA in the School of Engineering. I know it's weird, but it was called the T Group. And it was the training laboratory that came out of the 60s that looked at how to, especially people who are in the sciences, engineering, chemistry, physics, all those who are technically brilliant and emotionally maybe challenged. We worked with executives who wanted to be better, but were not great in emotional intelligence. So that was a term that came later. What we were doing was using this T group methodology to help people get in touch with, their innards and their emotions and their personal mastery, which is again a term that came later. It's my term that I've been using you can be as successful as you want on the outside, but if you don't feel like you're successful, if you can't believe that you're successful, if you're insecure, if you think you have an imposter syndrome, it's not really you, and you're getting accolades that you don't deserve, self-sabotage, self-doubt, fear of failure, fear of success, those are all under personal mastery, that you cannot be happy and successful and professionally successful if you harbor and do not have personal mastery. So I was, excuse me, let me go back to my, oh gosh, this tastes so good. If you don't have that level of personal mastery, then you won't be happy. You won't feel happy because it will be definitely fleeting. So in preparing for teaching that course, I was forced to look at myself, and I was that person. On the outside, I looked extremely secure. I looked extremely confident. I would love it when people would say, is there anything you don't do? Or, wow, you're so blah. And I would say, thank you very much. And then inside, I was a mess. Insecurity, self-doubt, beating myself up. So no matter how many compliments I got, if I got one insult, that's where I would go. And I was the poster child for internal, excuse me, internal insecurity. Mike and I were just talking about this. He's the master engineer at KCAA this weekend. Is that I don't have a mute button when I cough, and I say I never cough on the air. It's your fault that I just coughed twice. All right. So I was very insecure. I know that's hard to believe, but I was internally, hiding all of that insecurity. And so I looked at that and said, why am I so insecure? And the answer was, I am one of the 7 out of 10 who grew up with childhood trauma. I'm very open about that. And I'm going to show you something that will explain that a little more. And so I studied the development of insecurity in those of us, in my population, the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. Now, what's interesting is I also realized that if we're 7 out of 10 of us and we have childhood trauma, why do we think there's something wrong with us? We're the majority. Majority is supposed to rule. Why do we think we're never going to catch up? Why do we think that we're never going to be good enough and we're always going to be behind other people who had healthy childhoods? And that's like bullshit hockey, right? So then I began to look at the role of pain in life. Pain in life is mandatory, suffering is optional, but that's another show. And I've done that in the past. If you want to, this whole playlist, Get Happy Hour, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, by the way, that this is on, there's every show in this particular playlist deals with all of those ways in which you are not happy. So I encourage you to free subscribe and take a look at that playlist. But today's Mental Health Monday, and we do deal with this topic all the show long, and it is one show. We're going to take a quick break for news, weather, and traffic, and during that time, I'm actually going to play for you, since it is the end of Women's History Month, a short video for a commercial that tells the story of me, and it was done for Women's History Month highlight on Fox News, and it is, let's see, it is only, it's 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for the break while we pause for news, weather, and traffic. Don't go away. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. And just know that we're coming back to talk more about insecurity.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
Tonight we're wrapping up Women's History Month with a story about a woman whose mission is to spread happiness. Dr. Marissa Pei is a survivor of childhood trauma and a reformed tiger mom. She's an accomplished woman who has endured hardship, but she says she's also found a path to happiness.
I'm Dr. Marissa, and I'm making history in spreading happiness. I was born in a little town, a little German town in Canada. My parents came from China, and they wanted me to blend in as much as possible. So I was told, don't speak Chinese. So I learned actually to lie about who I was. People would say, are you Hawaiian? And I'd say, yes, because Chinese was just not a good thing to be. I had a tiger mom. And in an effort to motivate me, she would say that I was fat, that I was ugly, and that I was clumsy. To prove she was wrong, I started modeling and I dropped 40 pounds in like less than a year, and unhealthy. I was constantly trying to prove that voice wrong.
And this is a show about hope and how to be happy.
So that began my own journey to shift from blaming to, wait a minute, there is a role in pain in life. And what I've realized is pain in life chisels us into more and more good, more and more expansion, and more beauty. Yes, now I am known as the Asian Oprah. And the first time someone called me that, I went, oh, whoa, way too big shoes to step into. One of my teachers is Michael Bernard Beckwith, and he's a very good friend of Oprah's, introduced me to Oprah as, this is the Asian Oprah. And I'm like, and she looked at me, and she looked down, she looked at me, smiled, and said, nice pants.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah, reporting live.
When I say this is Dr. Marissa reporting, also known as the Asian Oprah, it just immediately sets people at ease. They laugh. It's such an honor. Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it. Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Dr. Marissa says the road to happiness starts with your mind, and you should end your day by reminding yourself of 8 things you successfully accomplished.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. That was Fox News doing, I was so honored to be a Women's History Month highlight, along with the president of BET Network. And so it's just so great when I get to travel and go to places that honor me, for sure. And I used that video to explain my past and where my insecurity came from. So if you saw from the video, my tiger mom, well-meaning, more mean than well, used that negative motivation, which is not uncommon in Asian cultures, to say you're fat in order to keep you from being fat. But it developed in me from an early age that I was fat and unattractive. So I have this insecurity about my looks and about my body size. And I know that that's where it stemmed from. And I also have insecurity about my gracefulness because I was clumsy. Turns out that I needed glasses. I have a -9, and that was not discovered until I was 9 years old, which is late. So you can imagine I had a good reason for being clumsy. I couldn't see. But all of those things just created this concept of insecurity in me. So insecurity is that lack of belief, self-doubt, self-reproach, self-hatred. I said it that strongly when I was interviewed in the Philippines on ABS-CBN with the Philippine Oprah, Karen Davila, and she thought I was being overly uh, strong, I guess that's the word for it, by saying that people suffered from self-hatred. But when I said to her, do you beat yourself up? Do you tell yourself all the time you shouldn't have said this or should have said that, or you're not good enough, you're only as good as your last success? And she went, okay, yeah. So insecurity develops for the 7 out of 10 of us in our childhood. But then I thought, let me see if even people who do not have childhood trauma also develop insecurity. Is it possible? And so when I volunteered at my kids' schools for whatever, much to their chagrin, but I loved being very active in my daughter's schools, and I would go in and do Chinese New Year presentations and volunteer. And I began to notice that through the ages, like preschool, kindergarten, first grade, even second grade, kids are not insecure. I mean, if you don't have childhood trauma, you watch little kids run around. They love themselves. They are not self-conscious. They laugh. They're free to express. And I would not say that they're insecure. When does insecurity develop? And I noticed that in about, and I think it's earlier now, but when my kids were growing up, and they're 27 and 25 now, they were very secure. I made sure of that because one thing about growing up in childhood trauma, you try to do the opposite. That's our only job, is to do a little better than our parents. But I noticed when they were in, I would say right before middle school, so somewhere around 10, 11, 12, especially in girls, that feeling of insecurity. Oh, I'm not as pretty as so-and-so. I'm not as smart as so-and-so. I'm not as cute as so-and-so. I'm not as popular as so-and-so. And that insecurity begins to grow. So even if you had really, really loving, supportive parents, does not mean that you will not feel insecure. And as a happiness coach, I have many clients who did not have, and they come to me and say, I don't understand why I'm so insecure, because I had a loving home. There was nothing wrong. I've had nothing but, you can do it. Why am I so insecure? So I'm going to say for sure, I don't know exactly why. And it doesn't really matter because, and this is the law of attraction at work. This is Abraham Hicks. I can spend the rest of my life trying to figure out why I am the way I am. But if I don't like the way I am, why bother? It's like decaffeinated coffee. So what if I figure it out? What? So I can blame someone, so I can shame someone? Now, I'm not saying that there isn't some value to understanding where some of that came from. However, and that's been my philosophy, and that's why this book, which is the Asian Oprah giveaway today, you can get an audio copy free by going to my website, drmarissa.life, and putting in your email today, and I will get you the promo codes. But it's a self-help book on steroids because it makes you go back one time, right? Go back one time to that horrific moment. If you had a moment where you know that has scarred you, you need to go back, but you don't need to stay there. You don't need to wallow in it. You don't need to blame people for it. You don't need to sit there and just like spread it all over you and stay there for 10 years of therapy. That is not required. That is not a useful use of this thing called life. So I'm very, very strong, and it may not apply to everyone. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But those who have worked with me know that I do not believe, it is not my BS, my belief system, that you need to continue to revisit that point of pain over and over and over again, because the more you address it, the more you wallow in it, the more you stay in it. So I wrap up all of that investigation with saying this: if you are one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, nothing that you did in that time did you deserve to have what happened to you happen. And it was horrible and it shouldn't have happened. Or you can say, maybe it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And it wasn't what happened to me. It was what happened for me. And I choose to see all of that pain as chiseling me into the one-of-a-kind wonderful that I am. And I have no regrets on any of that. My mother did the best that she could, and I really mean that, because everybody does the best that they can with the resources and the time that they have. Everybody, in every point of life. So with that, I can choose to live my present and my future, not with that pain, not with that blame, and not with that insecurity. So I'm recognizing that my feelings of insecurity about my worth, about my body, about my weight, about my looks are my job to personally master. It is my job, Mental Health Matters Mondays, to address those BS belief systems. So what is insecurity? It is a belief system, a BS, that says I am not worthy. It's a belief system that says I'm not good enough, or I'm not as good as others. It's a belief is a thought that we just keep thinking. Let me say that again. This is Abraham Hicks, pure to the core. Insecurity, thoughts of insecurity, are just beliefs that we just keep thinking. So how do you change a belief? You stop thinking about it. Now, it's not easy to just stop on a dime. We know that. Another teaching of Abraham Hicks. What do you do when you have thoughts of insecurity creep in to your consciousness, into that monkey chatter, into that mind chatter? What do you do? Well, I try to pivot. But again, if you think I'm fat, you wake up with a fat and ugly attack, it's not just easy to look in the mirror and go, oh, no, I'm not fat at all. I'm thin. I'm beautiful. And affirmations that you don't believe don't work. I'm sorry. You can say affirmations from now until eternity. And if you don't believe them, it's a waste of breath and time. That's my BS. However, I can do what Abraham says, which is go general. Okay. Oh, I'm having a fat and ugly attack. I identify it. I've had these before. They're based on belief systems that I was given and I grabbed a hold of and I made into this giant belief system that may not be true. I don't always look fat and ugly. There are times that I actually, look okay. And I back off of or go general on whatever it is that is creating that insecurity in my mind, whether it's about my body, whether it's about my looks, whether it's about, those are the two things that are my triggers. What are your triggers around insecurity? You're not smart enough. Okay. I have clients who say, I'm not smart enough. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. And my question is, okay, can you identify that point? Not that we're going to revisit it for 10 years, but yes, I do remember. I grew up with a dad that was highly critical. He told me every time, it doesn't matter what I showed him, he would put it down. He would tell me, I have got a good example in my own life. which I love to live out loud. So, you can identify, I can identify. I had a husband who would say I was not funny almost every day. And that's where that started. My insecurity about my ability to make people laugh. And I love making people laugh. And even when I would come back from a motivational speaking gig and I said, people laughed, and he would say they're just trying to make you feel better, or anyways, he would excuse whatever it is. So I have an insecurity about my true level of funniness. And what did I do about that? I said, okay, I'm not always funny, right? Sometimes jokes land flat. I'm not as funny as I think I am, but I can hone that skill. So I decided that I wanted to try stand-up comedy, and that's what I've been doing. So how do you get rid of insecurity? Two hands. One, recognize where it came from, not to dwell on it, not to go deeper into that, not to use that to hit yourself on the head, not to do that to make yourself feel worse and worse and worse, but to recognize it. And it is just a BS belief system that I keep thinking. So how do I stop thinking about it? I begin to go general. I begin to notice times where I'm not insecure. I'm not all of those things in that category. And then inspired action. How can I give myself proof that I'm not these things that I'm insecure about? And that is inspired action. It's not, I'll show you how I am not ugly, how I'm not fat, which is what I did when I was young. I dropped the weight very unhealthily. I modeled, but even when I was on the runway, even when I won the titles, Miss Hamilton and Hawaiian Tropic, all those things, even when I was acknowledged, I still was insecure about my weight, my looks, all of that. And that, my friends, is because I did not, I kept, that belief, I kept thinking. I would say, well, but I didn't win this, or I didn't do that, or look at that woman, or look at it. And here's the inspired action. One is quit looking at other people. Half of the reasons we are unhappy is because we look at other people, either their reactions to us or where they are. And that, my friends, is so detrimental to happiness. If your eyes are always the grass is greener on the other side, you're not going to be happy. And my answer to that is water your own lawn. Keep your eyes here. It doesn't matter. What you think of me is none of my business. It's a book title. One of my past guests, Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, that's the title of her best-selling book. And I would expand that. And what I think of you is none of my business. We seem to think it comes hand in hand. Insecurity, it's so weird. The more insecure you are, the more critical you are of yourself, and you're critical of other people too. It's this weird thing. How can you be so critical of yourself and be critical of other people when you're putting yourself down? Well, criticality and judgmentalism is a quality that works both ways. If you're really hard on yourself, you're going to have a tendency of being hard on other people too, which makes for not happiness in their in their mind or relationship with you. So there's so many reasons to not want to be insecure. So hopefully today you have learned that you are the boss of your own insecurity. When you say, I am insecure, that's not true. I have thoughts. I have insecure thoughts. I practice insecure thoughts. You're not insecure. You practice insecure thoughts. If you don't want to be insecure, quit practicing insecure thoughts, not just here, but also in your inspired action. How can I prove to myself in a kind and loving way that I am smart? Well, if you are, I know people, I'm so inspired by them. They dropped out of school. They had a really rough childhood. They don't want to read out loud because it shows that they did not, have schooling to help them. What are they doing? They're going back and they're practicing. That's inspired action. So those things that you have insecurity about, that you can have action towards. It also goes with all those things in your bathtub list, bigger than a bucket list. I wanted to learn a musical instrument or another language. All of those neural connections that maybe you didn't practice when you were younger, for whatever reason, you can do that now. You don't have to be insecure about your ability to put a flow chart together there's so many YouTube videos that'll teach you how to do just about everything. If you're insecure about your ability to work your phone, get together, bribe a kid to teach you over lunch, feed them. There's so many ways to get over insecurities. And if you just heard the Canadian in there, yes, I'm told that that's one word that gives me away sometimes. But you do not have to be insecure. Insecurity is not a diagnosis. It is not part of your makeup. It is a learned construct, a belief that you keep thinking. So hopefully today you've learned several different ways to not be insecure, because that's my job. It's all about balance. Before I sign out, please do join me. All week I'll be here. I'll be here all week and doing my funnies, doing my co-hosting. We've got, let's see, we'll go work backwards. Friday, Ricky Rebel, we've got his cousin coming on, who is presenting him with the inducting him into the American Entertainment Hall of Fame. Thursday, we have Throwback Thursdays, and I haven't decided who I'm throwing back. If you have a suggestion, I've had Corey Feldman has come up several times. The fashion show that I went to yesterday with RLC Talent Agency, they also put him on the cover of one of their magazines. So I'm going to do a throwback Corey Feldman show for Throwback Thursdays. He's been on the show a couple times. I need to reach out to him to come back present, but we'll use him as a runway for Throwback Thursdays. Wednesdays, this doctor's in the house. She's back from her travels, Dr. Tiffany Tate. Tuesday, tomorrow, I believe I do have April 1st. I have a very special guest for Tuesday Talent, and that is Julie Jameson. She's an artist. She is going to be live from somewhere out to, I think, Texas. But she's an artist that I met at a great event, the magazine that I do, ICCA, I always get that wrong, but it's Art Gallery production. So Julie Jameson will be my Tuesday Talent tomorrow. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah, reporting live on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, #1 talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And the station that leaves no listener behind. Now go and it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever.